Something else very special that happened recently. You officially passed the big 1 million subscribers. Congratulations.
That still feels weird.
How does it feel? How does it feel for the listeners at home? How does it feel to have 1 million subscribers?
Just like it did when I had 999,999.
Exactly what I knew you were going to say.
You know, like, I think there's a point. Okay, this goes way back in history for things, but I had huge imposter syndrome in the Destiny community until I got 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then I was like, okay, I think I belong here.
Interesting.
And that's not the same place I'm at for 1 million, but it is one of those moments where I think it will set in that I have 1 million well past 1 million subscribers, you know? I'll, like, if at some point in the future I'm fortunate enough to get to 1.5 or 1.2, then I will sit there and I will think of myself as that. But for the moment, I'm still thinking of myself in the same dimension and the same lens. What is exciting about it, I think, is just the time at which it's come along and the reaction from the community. I mean, people have been unbelievably gracious, and the fact that I've been doing this for 12 years and have sort of fallen into the sort of place of a mainstay for things, I'm incredibly blessed to have had that particular journey. And, you know, I'm just really, really freaking pleased that I was able to sit here and jump in for this ride. And yeah, I don't have many words. Normally that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, as you should be very proud. I mean, you've been putting in the work. You've been putting out a ton of very consistent, very quality content. It's very, very well deserved. And there's only, I think, like 3 channels that even have Destiny channels that have 1 million subscribers. It's a very, very big deal for Destiny. Like, it's interesting. There's easily hundreds of COD channels with millions of subscribers from even like 7 years ago. If you look at like Fortnite or Minecraft, there might even be thousands. Having 1 million subscribers is very easy because of the amount of viewers there are. Like, you can, I say easy if you know what you're doing. And, you know, I use the word easy in a different sense, but there are tons and tons of channels you would never even heard of that have 2 million subscribers that get, you know, 100,000 or even 1 million views per video. That these games like Minecraft and Fortnite, GTA, COD, these are some of the biggest games in the world. So they have huge audiences, especially the ones with younger audiences like Fortnite and Minecraft. Those are a lot more engaged audience. Whereas a game like Destiny, it's obviously a massive game, but it's definitely nowhere near the scale of Minecraft and Fortnite and those massive games. So it is very interesting. Like, you know, there's very few channels that, like, even to get a Destiny video with 1 million views is very, very, very tough. It's a huge accomplishment. But again, with Fortnite, it's like who doesn't get 1 million views per video? Obviously, again, it's still difficult, but the amount of channels doing that. But there's never been at any point a channel that gets 1 million views per video for Destiny. There's probably a couple videos per year that reach over 1 million views. It's a huge accomplishment. And
yeah, for certain.
Yeah.
I feel like you're right in that sense. It does create this kind of threshold. And, you know, I think there are definite trailblazers on that particular front. Shout out to Data, who has always been at the front of all this. And, you know, quite frankly, rightly is the first true core Destiny channel to ever reach 1 million. No disrespect to others like Mr. Fruit, but that's the way I'm categorizing it, as Dado has always been Destiny. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, Fruit's very variety. He does a ton of things, which is equally as impressive to get that many subscribers doing multiple things, because there's obviously the comparison between doing variety and doing a single game. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. But with variety, that's so difficult to get a solid audience that can watch you play anything like Fruit does. Is seriously impressive, versus it is definitely easier if you stick with one niche, as you'd call it, in any, whether it's not even games, whether you do, you know, makeup or skateboarding or whatever content you create. The more you tailor towards a niche, the easier it is to get an audience. But the downside of that is you'll be pigeonholed into that thing. So you need to be very careful, because, you know, 5 years in or even a year in, you need to think, am I still going to enjoy doing this content? And that's the downside of focusing on a niche and only doing one game versus doing a variety of things. You can be more agile and you can pivot to different things easier. Whereas if you're just a Destiny channel, you have a lot more difficulty pivoting to another game. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both.
Oh, yeah. Speaking as someone who knows absolutely nothing about niche content, I sit here and I do say I'm glad for 1 million, but it makes me excited because I think the point of a niche is that sometimes, yeah, it represents limited opportunities for growth, but I think that there is a bigger element to it, which is a niche sometimes is just something that's really awesome that no one knows about yet.
Yeah.
You know? And the way that I look at things now, especially with the way that Destiny is beginning to grow, is simply that I have the key storytelling niche. You know, people are combined together culturally by stories. And I think that's the thing that everybody forgets. And so storytelling is the ultimate medium of allowing people to fuse their ideas and allowing people to congregate. And it's something that everybody has in common. So it's a very weird way of sitting there and saying, the more that I grow, the more I am confident that Destiny is doing well, because the story is something that will draw you in no matter what you do. Like, yeah, you should be looking at a game for all its different things that you enjoy, but even if you're looking at this for a competitive shooter type aspect, you can sit there and you can look at a gun and you can be like, damn, that's cool. And the idea that you enjoy that gun, whether it is cyberpunk or whether it's more kind of like King's Fall, sort of eldritchy, fleshy nonsense, whatever, like the fact that those story ideas grab you and they present themselves to you as something that you enjoy means that there is at least a theme there. There is something cool about that has grabbed your attention. And so that's ultimately what I think will bring more people in, is this idea that if we can bring story to more people, we show that it's worth listening to.
Yeah.
But that's why I'm very confident about being here in this niche of telling lore and telling stories.
Yeah, and you do it excellently. I mean, I asked you how you feel about hitting 1 million subscribers, kind of sarcastically knowing the answer will be no different. As anyone says, like, you know, pretty much I think most YouTubers you'll see, it's kind of a weird one when people hit milestones, because it's a very public facing number that seems like it should be a bigger deal than it ends up feeling. But the reason for that is because subscribers and even money earned, they are, as they should be, afterthoughts. Like, nobody sits down, like, you didn't sit down thinking, I'm going to hit 1 million subscribers. You sit down thinking, I'm going to make these videos. That's your number one thing, is the videos come first. The subscribers just happen after the fact. But yeah, I think 100%. Obviously viewers would see the numbers and they would think, oh, wow, 1 million subscribers, big deal. But it feels like it should be a big deal, but for the creator, it's often like, oh yeah, like 1 million subscribers or however many, whether it's 100,000, 500,000. The creator's always focused on the content, as they should be. And anyone that goes into something thinking, I want to make a bunch of money or I want to get 1 million subscribers, they will probably never get those things, because the focus is on the rewards and the trophies and the accolades, as opposed to just simply making the content. But you don't get those numbers without making good quality content that resonates with an audience, whether it's putting out high quantity or whether it's putting out just super high quality. The content always comes first, and that's why a lot of creators always feel a little bit disconnected when they hit milestones, because not to get those milestones, you have to put in a lot of work to do the videos. So that's always your focus, and then it's always like, oh yeah, I'm coming up on 1 million subscribers. It's just like an afterthought in most cases.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to ascribe that this is totally the way that everyone views it, but when I started doing YouTube, 1 million just seemed totally unrealistic.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't dare to even dream about the day when I would start making money and make this my career, you know, and when it actually happened, I kind of blinked twice and was like, okay, this is the thing now, this is happening. But I think the other big thing to know is, whilst you can have 1 million in the background as a meta goal and this overarching thing of one day that's something I want to do, you're completely correct. The day-to-day is very much thinking about, okay, what are people interested in hearing? What's a cool thing I can tell people about? What are people looking to see? What are people looking to hear about in this particular thing that I cover? And at the core, if you do that, and if you derive enjoyment from that part of your job, then you're set, you know, like things will continue and you will grow as you go on. And, you know, granted, you do have other outside factors. I mean, if Destiny had gone the way of Anthem, then, you know, this would be a very different story. This day would not probably have come. But, you know, when you hitch your wagon to the correct thing and when you have something that has clearly got overwhelming audience interest, you can genuinely sit there and you can build and you can make something good. You know, it's just about finding something that in tandem with everything else is special. I'm honestly 100% so glad that this is where I'm at right now. I know that there are a bunch of other lore channels out there covering other games and other content, but honestly, of all the different lore niches I could have, I'm so glad this is the one, you know, that no disrespect to anyone who covers anything else. In fact, preview of things, when I do my 1 million subscriber video and celebrate that, I actually want to do a shout out to a bunch of those different channels, because that's the kind of content that I enjoy. But, you know, of all the different niches to cover, nothing gives the variety and the depth and, you know, call me whimsical and poetical, but the beauty that Destiny does, you know?
Yeah, I mean, back when I started in 2012, or even when I was watching content creators in 2007, 2008, 2009, like 1 million subscribers, there was probably less than 100 channels with 1 million subscribers. It was huge. It was like having like 50 million subscribers now. Like nowadays there are like it's probably around like
33,000. I looked this up when I hit 1 million. Yeah, it's about 33,000 channels with 1 million.
Yeah, I remember the time where there was like hundreds. You knew every channel, like the Ray William Johnson, the Smosh, there were very few channels that had 1 million. It was unheard of. Like the thought of getting when I started, the thought of getting 100,000 was I couldn't even imagine it. That was like some of the biggest channels in the world had that. And then, but yeah, you never really focus on it. I think probably the only milestone that felt kind of significant to me was probably 100,000, because it is like hitting 6 figures is nice. It's a big, obviously you get the plaque, which is nice, but
oh yeah,
you know, you just keep focusing on the content, and then, you know, 200, 300, 500, you just kind of, they happen in the background, and people would always be kind of surprised when I tell them I don't really know, or like I couldn't tell them exactly how many subscribers I have. Like, how can you not know how many subscribers you have? But most creators don't really focus on that. It's just something that like, oh, I hit this milestone, or it really is something that happens in the background, and it kind of should be, because again, if you focus on the subscribers or money, you're gonna be missing out on the content, which is the most important thing.